Okay, moving on. We have some signings, and it's the relief pitcher market that kind of goes early and quick, just shaving away at the relief pitcher pool as you shave your pubes away with Manscaped. This holiday season, they're giving all of my personal friends the best deal they can, and they'll have you looking like dessert.
Sounds good.
Yeah. The help of Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Trim your pumpkins by going to manscaped.com. Use code Talkin for free shipping and 20% off. Jake's in St. Lucia right now. You think there's, a mess of hair?
There's not a hair on his body.
No,
right now.
he's taken care of because he was wearing Speedos only, he said. He said him and Jess were wearing
and oil,
matching bikinis, as I thought he said to
us. One, Jake obviously cleaned up for this trip, but also he has said many times, the Manscaped, like the bag they give you, that is...
Oh, that's his travel bag.
That is his travel
bag.
Yeah,
that is his travel bag.
It's his favorite bag in the world.
And it's also his medicine closet because he doesn't unpack when he lives at home. He doesn't put things in the cabinet. So that's good. You can get 20% off and free shipping with code Talkin at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code Talkin. Be thankful this holiday season for the best gift of all from Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. Relievers have gone. We're a cron pod, so we're a little behind on this one. We mentioned it last episode, but the Mets re-signed Edwin Diaz. It will be $5.5 million per year for his first 3 seasons and then $5 million per year for his last 2. That's right. A 5-year deal. It's a lot of money.
He's getting more than $5.5 million a year. He got 102 for the whole thing.
So how are they? Joel Sherman, New York Post says many deals. Oh, that's deferred? Wow. Okay. So it's a $102 million deal for 5 years. Comes with a $12 million signing bonus, a full no-trade clause, and the team has an option for the 6th year, which could take the total value up to a $122 million. They're not taking that option. He can also opt out after the 3rd season. Oh, dude, I forgot about all these contracts and the opt-outs because, all right, so I only ever heard this as 5 years, $102 million, but it's actually because he has the opt-out, which very much players accept contracts hoping they get to opt out and can get more. Am I wrong or correct there, Trev?
No, it's just they're not hoping, they're not, whatever it is. Yeah, I guess best case scenario is you're outperforming your contract and you can opt out and go get a different one. It's security, it's insurance, I guess, if you will.
So how much, I wonder how much is guaranteed in those first 3 years that isn't, because it's super funky. They have the signing bonus of $12 million. They have $26.5 million of the salaries deferred.
I'm reading it right now, too.
Yeah, so I wonder how much is guaranteed those first 3 years.
I think all the deferred money is guaranteed. And then whatever he's going to make on a year-by-year annual, those mean the same thing, basis.
Yeah, so the $12 million is guaranteed because that's the signing bonus. Joel Sherman said $5.5 million per year the first 3 seasons. So you're at, 17 there, plus 12, 29, plus more? I have no idea. That's kind of confusing. That's interesting. He has an opt-out after 3 years. They have an opt-in to make it a 6-year deal. It's a ton of money. I did not think we were going to see relievers making the amount of money we're seeing them make this early in the offseason. Good for him and good for the reliever market in general. But I thought this bubble had burst of paying relievers this much money.
Yeah, it's I love it, and I think he got himself into like the perfect situation. Obviously having the year on the field that he had, it was incredible. He was lights out, but then the whole like trumpet thing became viral, and it became almost a spectacle. Like part of the game, part of the reason people went to Citi Field was to see Edwin Diaz come in the game and like have his moment. So I think that factors in. And then obviously Uncle Stevie there with his pocketbooks, just fat as can be, fat as Jake after a St. Lucia fucking pasta. He's dishing it out. So I think there's just kind of a perfect little mixture right here for him to get this contract. I'm happy for him. I think it did drive the next couple guys' salaries up that we're about to talk about. But Diaz, man, yeah, like he's
super interesting. It's the most volatile position, right? And you're looking at him, and in 2021, I mean, he didn't have the best year. In 2020, he had a stellar year. In 2019, he had a rather poor year. 2018, so it's every other year here. So if that trend continues,
it's like we see every postseason how valuable like high leverage relievers are, and I think that just like clicks in all these dudes' brains. Like we need that. We need to make sure that the back of our bullpen can finish these games, and it's true. You have to have that, and it's difficult to find it. So, I don't fault teams for going after relievers like this and signing them. But like you said, it's very, very volatile, that position.
And for him, 3 of the last 5 years, he's been amazing. And they're hoping that if they have him for 5 years, they get 3 amazing seasons out of him. That would be a steal. But it's a lot of money. And no knock to Diaz here, just a thought process. How much of this is Uncle Stevie and the Mets ownership? How much is Edwin Diaz benefiting from the Mets making a statement? Like,
greatly.
You thought you were going to be able to get Diaz and you were going to put some money in front of him? No. He's signing before that even happens. We're re-signing him, and we're going to pay way more than you would have ever paid, and we don't give a shit about it.
I think that's exactly what's going on. We talked about, this happening when you have an owner that's has so much more money than the other owners, which is crazy to say because these guys are all super, super rich. I think there's going to be a time where where the Mets get bitten by the tax, and they're going to say, okay, maybe we need to like calm things down. But right now is not that time. They're going to go sign DeGrom back. They're going to make a run at Judge. I think there is a little bit of this like, fuck you attitude. Like we're going to do things our own way here. And yeah, I think 100% he benefited from being in this position right now.
Yeah, well, good for him.
Yeah.
The next reliever is actually Robert Suarez that went off the board. So if we're going Cron Pod, he went next. Another 5-year deal, Trev, but way less money than Diaz. But the Padres retain Robert Suarez, 5-year deal, $46 million guarantee, allows him to opt out after 2025 campaign. So he has an opt out after 2 years, 23 and 24. He declined the $5 million player option earlier this week. So there you want to be. You want to decline the player option and get a new deal. He gets it with the team. So, good vibes moving forward. 46 mil coming to Robert Suarez. I mean, his story is amazing. So for him to sign this, that's got to be, pop a bunch of champagne and cry some tears. That's what I'd suggest.
Yeah, an untraditional path to the big leagues. He's out of Venezuela, goes to Japan, plays 5 years there. There's some other stuff. Go check out his story. It's kind of all over the place, but he ends up in Japan playing there, makes his debut. I think his first game was just really, really bad. I was reading about it. He walked 2 batters, then hit a third, and that was it.
Yep.
And they took him out. All of them ended up scoring. After that, he was pretty much lights out. And I love this signing for the Padres, and I know he missed some time with some knee inflammation, it says, but the combination of pitches, like, do you think they're thinking, wow, he throws a heater and he throws a changeup, and those pitches aren't necessarily like bad for your arm as these sliders or maybe a splitter would be. So, hey, we can bank on this guy being relatively healthy if we keep those knees in check. Here's $10 million a year. I think that makes sense.
Crazy. He never played in the MLB before this year, and now he's signing this deal. And yeah, he gets $10 million in his first 3 seasons. So this is kind of what I was looking for in the Diaz conversation that I couldn't find. So he's gonna, if he doesn't opt out, he gets $30 million, $10 million a year for the next 3 years, and then it goes down to $8 million in year 4 and 5, which he can opt out from. He would leave 16 on the table if he thinks he can get another 10 per deal somewhere else at that time. But that's a good deal for him, man. Of course, he took. I'm sure that he was ready to accept it. He was ready to give. in a weird sense, I'm not trying. I know players should always take top dollar, get top dollar, but Padres gave him a chance that he earned, and I'm sure there's some loyalty there both ways. But him being like, dude, you guys, after that bad start, let me ride it out and a second life in the majors, that he was probably happy to sign with the Padres and happy they treated him fairly in their offer.
Yeah, and this is cool because the last pitch, I think it's the last pitch we saw him throw, was the Bryce Harper homer.
Mm.
And, sometimes that could stick around in a front office's mind, but I think they understood the circumstances there. He hadn't even given up a homer to a lefty all year long, and it's Bryce Harper, and sometimes you're going to get beat by Bryce Harper. And I'm happy they realized that and didn't hold that against him.
Well, hey, you're a high leverage reliever on a postseason team. You're getting paid to be of blame, or, to be the one that blows it at the end. That is the job, which sucks. Also, you get the hero though. All right, and the third big reliever signing, another postseason pitcher we saw down the stretch, Rafael Montero. He signed a 3-year, $35.5 million deal with the Astros. The third elite reliever to fall off the board, reports Jeff Passan of Espen on Instagram. Is this the one Passan did on Instagram?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's trying to be top boy on Instagram. Relax, Jeff.
Yeah.
Hedging his bets with Twitter.
So there you go. Another reliever off the board. I mean, good for Montero. He's 32 years old.
Another cool story.
Yeah. Let's see. Before the Astros,
Kind of been all over the place.
Yeah.
Had some success, regressed a little bit, had a really bad 2021, comes over to the Astros in that Kendall Graveman deal. And dude, I don't know, the Astros tinker with him and fix him and, kind of make him do what he does well, probably.
Good time right now
He'll
to
probably be lights out.
Talk about James Click, because who made this deal? The Astros currently don't have a GM, right? They haven't hired anyone. They let go of their GM, James Click, who made
two assistant GMs.
Oh, okay. Who made the trade for Montero. So, yeah, assistant GMs sometimes do way more than you think. I know how the Yankees used to do it, is that they would divide the teams up. And when Cashman was not the GM, but before he became the GM, he had 10 teams. If they were going to make a trade with him, it was Bob Lemon. He ran it and then reported back before he made the moves, but did all the discussions. I think Cashman runs it that way now with his team, maybe, where the assistants kind of have you go talk to those teams, all the preliminary stuff. So maybe it was in the works, and then World Series team manager gone, or GM gone. So he didn't sign Montero. He just traded for him.
Well, he traded for him, and I guess he didn't give him the money.
Although he could have been part of the conversations before the offseason of what's it going to look like, you would guess. I have no idea. Because rumors were that relationship soured way back at the trade deadline. So maybe he's been on the outs ever since.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's Click we're talking about now has had some good moments with the Astros. This trade, he signs Ryan Stanek. He brought over Hector Neris. He's done some good things, but I guess there was a disagreement as far as an Urquidy for Wilson Contreras deal. And then, I talked about this yesterday on Baseball Today. When it all comes down to it, there's human interactions and feelings going on throughout these front offices. And, my opinion, and again, I don't have any sources for this, but I feel like there was, after that disagreement, there was some resentment. And if there's that there and it kind of builds, Jim Crane's a very hands-on owner. And if you're his GM and feels like he's got to battle you for everything, he's just going to fucking get rid of you.
Yeah.
And he did it in a way that's we didn't fire you. We actually offered you a 1-year deal.
Yeah, the 1-year deal is such a funny offer. They offered him a 1-year deal to run it back. Go win back-to-back. And it's I kind of want job security, and I think you're just doing that and then not going to let me do any moves because, I'm gone. It's a
so
save face offer.
these guys own teams and they're allowed to do with them what they want to do with them. And I feel like that's kind of what happened here.
The Contreras trade, or Kitty for Contreras trade, Dusty Baker had some quotes on that as well, where he said he didn't want to do it because Contreras is on a contract year and he wanted a catcher. He wasn't going to sit Maldonado, and he thought Contreras was going to want to play every day because he wants to earn the most he can going into free agency, and that he probably deserves that. And it wouldn't be a good fit. And Urquidy has been so good for them that Dusty Baker kind of nixed it. They went and got Vasquez, who's also on a contract year, but I guess he had been part of platoons, or they thought he would be more likely, or just going to get less in free agency. This wouldn't hinder it. But that was interesting to know that Dusty was in that room. Maybe Click didn't like that.
Do you know where Click came from?
Where?
The Rays. Of course he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe he was the seat at the Rays.
Beavers, go work for the Rays for like 2 years, do some statistics stuff, find your way onto the bench, and then boom, manager, Beavers.
I bet I'd pull my hair out of my skull after the second meeting if I was part of the Rays chats of just math club.
I don't get it, dude. Maybe I wasn't privy to like these super secret conversations they had where the secret sauce was mixed in or whatever, but I don't get it, dude.
No.